Are monsters born or made? The Metaphysics of Ed Gein and the Dream of Guilt. The moment the question is asked, are monsters born or made, the ego already wins. Because the question itself presupposes there's an answer to something unreal. It drags the mind deeper into the dream, forcing a debate over what never existed. To call anyone a monster, there must first appear to be more than one, someone to be monstrous against. But the truth is, there's only one mind, dreaming of division and calling its fragments names. The monster is what the split mind makes to project its own denied guilt onto the screen of the world. That's why Ed Gein, Bernie Madoff, Hitler, the abusive parent, or the corrupt system all serve the same unconscious function. Each becomes a canvas for guilt to be painted upon, a way for the dreamer to say, "Not me." The ego loves that move. It keeps the sin out there, ensuring the split mind never looks inward, never dares to face the one thought that gave birth to them all, the idea that I separated from God. That is the original guilt. That is the ache beneath every human story. It's the guilt too terrifying to hold, so it must be projected onto form, onto flesh, crime, violence and madness. That's why the mind invents its Ed Geins. It needs someone to carry its unbearable self-image so it can appear innocent by comparison. It says, "He's the monster, not me." But if God is love and creates only like himself, then anything that is not love cannot be real. Take the if away. God is love. And what does love create except love? An apple tree doesn't produce stones. The ocean doesn't give birth to sandstorms. Love can only extend itself as love. So if something appears unlike love, violent, sick, cruel, it cannot be of God and therefore cannot be real. What changes cannot be real. And monsters change. One day they are monstrous, the next they are dead, pitied or forgotten. Is he still a monster when he stops monstering? Who decided that was even a thing? The monstrous acts we see are dramatizations of a single metaphysical event, the instant the mind believed it could separate from its source. Every so-called body that acts out cruelty is merely reenacting that original guilt. It's not a new evil being born. It's the same ancient error replaying itself in new costumes. Each villain is the same actor wearing a different mask in the same tragic play. That's why the show is effective. It exposes the dream's inner machinery. The horror of Ed Gein isn't his acts. It's the projection of guilt so unbearable that it must take form in flesh and blood to be seen and judged. The public horror isn't about him. It's about the mind trying to purge what it believes it has done to God. When Ed's possessions are auctioned off and hundreds gather to stare, they aren't spectators, they are participants in the ritual of guilt. They are subconsciously saying, "This is what I am, but I'll pretend it's him." Gein becomes the ego's scapegoat. It's proof that sin is real and punishment justified. And when the punishment isn't enough, when he's sent to an asylum instead of hell, the ego rages. Because what it really wants isn't justice. It wants sin to be real. That's the secret of every witch hunt and every news cycle. As long as someone can be condemned, guilt can live another day. But behind the character of Ed Gein is the same innocent mind, still loved by God, still dreaming of a nightmare, still mistaken about its identity. The Holy Spirit looks not at the acts but at the mind that dreamed them. And he knows what we have forgotten. Nothing real can be threatened and nothing unreal exists. In that understanding lies peace. So when Netflix or Ryan Murphy asks, "Are monsters born or made?" the Holy Spirit does not answer illusions. He offers new perception. He reframes the question, can innocence be corrupted? And the answer is no. Because what God created innocent cannot change its nature. The Son of God can dream he's become a murderer or a saint, but dreams do not alter truth. The ego invents its hierarchy of sin to make guilt seem manageable. It says this one is worse, this one is better, this one is unforgivable. But sin is not real in degrees. If sin were real at all, everyone would be guilty. And if it's unreal, no one is. That's why the line, either we're all monsters or none of us are, hits the bullseye. Because there is only one mind, not divided, not split in truth, dreaming of separation. Wholeness cannot contain halves. There's no such thing as half a monster. To believe in one monster is to believe in many. To believe in many is to forget the one. And that's the true horror story. Not Ed Gein's House of Bones, but the mind that built a universe to hide from its creator. A Course in Miracles says, projection makes perception. The world you see is what you gave it, nothing more. The world of monsters is a world the ego made to keep love at a distance. Because love without opposites would end the dream. So long as there are monsters, the ego gets to keep its own false innocence intact. It gets to say, I'm good, they're bad, I'm normal, they're sick, I'm safe, they're dangerous. But the Holy Spirit whispers, there are no degrees of innocence. Love does not divide itself. It recognizes every seeming fragment as the same sun calling for the same remembrance. So the next time the mind rushes to ask who the real monster is, let it pause and listen. Because the Holy Spirit never asks, who is the real monster? He asks, who told you monsters were real? That's the miracle. That's the new perception. The end of the horror story isn't punishment, it's awakening. It's realizing that every scream, every crime, every headline was the echo of one mistaken thought. I could be apart from love. And when that thought is seen as false, the nightmare ends. Then the monster disappears, not because it died, but because it never was.